Hello. So in this video, I'm going to go through how we make the different graphs in Google Sheets. I did go over this in class, but just in case you missed class or you just want to look over it again or hear all the instructions again. So this is a list of, so I'm going to do a categorical and a quantitative just to show you. So categorical data, in this case, this is where I asked a survey. This is one of my AP classes. What math class did you take last year? So I have all those options. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a frequency table. So to do that, I'm going to do my title at the top. I'm going to say math class last year, and that's the column where I'll put all the different categories that people chose. And then over here, I'm going to say frequency, where I'll put how many chose each category. So first, I'm going to write all my different options. So it looks like we had some people who say they didn't take a math class last year. So I'll just say didn't take one. Let's see. I see some regular algebra 2, some pre-AP algebra 2. See some regular pre-cal, some pre-AP pre-cal. And I think, yeah, I've got a couple who took AP Calculus last year. Again, this is my AP Stats class. They're very advanced. They like math a lot. So now I'm going to go through my list and just count how many people said each thing. So for didn't take a math class, I have 2 people who said they didn't take a math class last year. So I'm going to put a 2 there. For regular algebra 2, I see 1, 2. So 2 people, I believe, said regular algebra 2. So now I'm going to go through and finish counting how many are in each category, and then I'll come back when I finish that. Okay, so I finished counting and I have this. One thing that you can do if you just want to make sure that you haven't missed any is add up all the numbers in here, and you can do that by hand. Little fun fact, I'm going to do this little Google Sheets trick. So I have a total row down here, and I'm going to say equals sum, parentheses. I'm going to highlight all of those, close parentheses, enter, and it's telling me that these numbers added together is 29. So I'm going to make sure that I actually had 29 people in my list over here. So if I go to the bottom, it's on the 30th row, but remember that first row was not actually a person. So we do have 29, so we are good. But now I'm going to take off that total row, because if I try to use that to make the chart, it'll use total as a category, and I don't want that. So now I'm ready to make my chart or my graph. So I'm going to highlight my little frequency table, and I'm going to say insert chart. And it'll pull up the thing that whatever type of graph it thinks is the most appropriate for that type of data, it will pull that one up first. So it actually pulled up a pie chart for us. And that's one of the things I'm going to have you make in the project. So I'll do this one first. I am going to have you guys kind of put an appropriate title on there. So for this one, I'm going to say just math class last year. And then I have all the percentages in there, and you can kind of play with the options over here. One of the options is to change up how the legend is doing it. So the way this is doing it is just having an arrow that points to whatever category, but you could change that and say like, oh, I want there to be a legend on the bottom. And then it just tells you like this, what color each class is. But yeah, you can kind of change up how you want that legend to look. And there's lots of other options you can change, but that is the main stuff. So that's one of the graphs you'll make. And so you'll put that on your little project sheet. The other type of graph you'll make is a bar graph. So when I go and I highlight my data and I say insert chart, again, it's going to come up with the pie chart first. The way I would change that is by going over here to chart type and clicking on that, and then it'll give you all the options you could possibly do. It'll give you any that are suggested first. So I want a bar graph, so I'm going to pick this one right here that looks like a bar graph. It's called a column chart in Google Sheets, but that's what it is. It's a bar graph. So now I have my graph right here. Again, I'm going to change up the title to just say math class last year. I'm not going to say the frequency part. And then from there, you can just kind of change up whatever you want to. You can probably change the color over here in options, just whatever you feel like you need to change. You can take away these grid lines if you don't want there to be grid lines. But that is hopefully definitely up to you. So you can kind of play with stuff. So that is that. And then for categorical data, I'll ask you some questions about describing it, looking at what you see, etc. But that is how you make a bar graph in a pie chart. So now I'm going to move over to some quantitative data. And a quantitative data is typically trickier to do a graph of by hand because we have numbers and we had to do all that stuff of like for a histogram, you would have to find the intervals and the interval widths and all that stuff. But when we do it in a computer program, it does it really fast for us. So these are some test grades from just a previous class of a previous year, just so I could get some numerical data real quick. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm just going to highlight all of it, all the numbers. I'm not even going to try to make a frequency table yet because even that's going to be complicated. So I'm just going to highlight everything. I'm going to say insert chart, just like I did before. And just like before, Google Sheets will pull up the type of graph that's the most appropriate for the type of data that you've highlighted. So it actually pulls up a histogram first, which is what I wanted. So yay. Then I'm going to, just like I did before, kind of change up the title to just say test grades. You'll notice that Google Sheets, it figured out everything for us. So it decided how many bars I was going to have, or intervals. It decided the interval width. Like it did all of that for us really, really quickly. And we have a beautiful graph. So that is how you make a bar graph. I'm sorry, a histogram. And then again, once you finish making that, there's some stuff I'll ask you on the quantitative page about how to, or like interpreting it, talking about shape, etc. So those are the things you're going to have to do. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or just need clarification on anything, let me know. But that's it, guys. Thanks.